Hello, my name's Ross Deuchar and I'm a professor here in the University of the West of Scotland, and my most recent research project has been an ethnographic research project looking at the impact of a rehabilitation programme in the outskirts of Copenhagen in Denmark that was structured around the use of boxing as an engagement tool for young male offenders. I was interested particularly in boxing as a means of enabling some of these young men who participated to rethink some of their perceptions about masculinity and ultimately lead them towards criminal desistance. Boxing, of course, has been highlighted by the sociologist Loic Wacquant as being the manly art. More than any other sport, it's closely tied to traditionally working class notions of male identity. So it seemed a very good and interesting context to learn from within the context of violence prevention and criminal desistance. And so I wanted to explore the way in which this boxing context within a rehabilitation centre could perhaps lend itself to the study of the entanglement of transitional masculinity and criminal desistance. So in total I spent around 35 days in the Comeback Rehabilitation Centre in Copenhagen, engaging in participant observation, participating actively in the boxing training as an engagement tool, and also observing on a daily basis some of the rehabilitation and development programmes, as well as conducting semi-structured and life history interviews with some of the young offenders. And what I found ultimately was that the programme gave these young guys the resilience and perseverance they needed to come over some of the barriers and the temptations, the struggles and obstacles that came in their lives, having been from a highly disadvantaged background and experienced a lot of stigma and social marginalisation. And it enabled them to look at boxing almost as a metaphor for life, where they were able to liken some of the struggles they had in life to the struggles that the boxer might have fighting and struggling in the ring. Of course, I recognise through the research that early and effective intervention programmes like this one need to have a focus on challenging some of the deeply entrenched and stereotypical views that these young men sometimes have of what it means to be a man, associating it primarily with violence and aggression. But at the same time, I was mindful of the fact that sometimes the discussions and the development that we want to have with these young men need to be wrapped around a safe context that enables some elements of what Connell has described as hegemonic masculine values to continue to be upheld and celebrated in order to keep these young men engaging and keep them talking. And boxing in that sense lent itself to that and was a very effective context for development. We're now launching a Scottish version of Comeback in the west of Scotland here. Comeback Scotland will be launched very soon, where we're drawing upon boxing again as an engagement tool and as a metaphor for life for young men who have involved themselves in street violence in the past, to get them thinking about their life chances and relating some of the struggles that they come across to the boxing context. Our research from the recent study in Denmark has recently been published in 2 journals, in the Journal of Youth Studies and also the Journal Criminology and Criminal Justice.